Hey friend, welcome back to Bible Tract Echoes. I'm Micah McCurry, your host. I want to thank you so much for taking your time and joining me right here today. Sometimes you just feel like you're in the groove, you know? You feel like you're ready to go. And today's one of those days. Sometimes you just got to get your mind right. And I'm excited for what we have on today's broadcast. Here we are in the middle of the week, and maybe you're listening at another time. Maybe you're listening on demand on YouTube or Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts at, or maybe you're listening on terrestrial radio station. I can't tell you what an impact radio has had for the cause of Christ for decades. And each one of you listen to radio. Thank you so very much. And time would fail me to go down the list of all of the radio stations that carry Bible Tract Echoes to each of you. If you happen to be listening and you're a secretary, you're a station manager, you're a director, you're someone that invests in the cause of the gospel going out over the airwaves, I want to thank you specifically. The sun has not set on radio. God's doing a great work through radio. I was just in Indiana, a good church down there, and it was amazing to hear what an impact radio has had there. And of course, I know all of Wisconsin. I hear from folks in Arizona, from folks in the Philippines and Africa, and from the south to the northeast to the west, all over the place. People are listening, and I want to thank you for that. I'm going to ask you if you would to go to 2 Kings chapter 2. We're looking at the translation of Elijah. We're looking at the fact that Elijah was caught up. He was caught up by a fiery chariot, and Elisha, his protege. It saddened him, but it also inspired him. He went and did some great things. It's amazing to think that Elisha, the protege of Elijah, we're kind of talking about the overall arching theme is, where is the Lord God of Elijah? We're going to really land that plane probably Thursday or Friday, but right now we're giving some kind of introduction. We're giving some thoughts about Elisha, his relationship with Elijah, the generational connection or disconnection. It bothers me sometimes. I want to help you with that today. We looked at on Monday, I think we talked about the fact that Elisha never discouraged the soul of Elijah. He was just a help. He was a blessing to his mentor. Yesterday, we talked about the fact that Elisha, the young man, never departed from the side of Elijah. He was faithful. He was available. Nothing degrading was said about Elijah by Elisha. And today, nothing Elisha did showed up Elijah. Have you ever showed someone up before? Maybe you watch sports and you see a guy running in for a touchdown, and he shows up the guy that's chasing him because he's just so fast. You can't catch me. You can't catch me. Nana nana boo boo, right? We've done it as kids. We see our kids doing it. I was taught at a young age, and it was a valuable lesson, don't talk. Just let your game do the talking, all right? If you have any game, let it do the talking, because otherwise you might have to eat crow. You might have to put your foot in your mouth. But I never get the sense in reading about Elisha's ministry, and we're in 2 Kings chapter 2. We'll pull some from the context here as we go along. I never get the sense in reading about Elisha's ministry that he ever felt the need to one-up his mentor. You know, Elisha, the Bible tells us, if you add up all the miracles Elijah did, and you add up all the miracles that Elisha, the younger man, the next generation did, Elisha did double the miracles that his mentor did. Think about that. But he never acted like a somebody. He just acted like he served somebody with a capital S. Did Elisha have talent? Oh, yes. Look at who he was when Elijah called him, when God put the two of them together. He was plowing in 1 Kings 19. We won't turn there for sake of time, but in 1 Kings 19, he was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen, but he wasn't high on his own supply. He knew without God, he was nothing. I wonder, as you think about the people that God uses, for most of us, I'm speaking for myself too, some of us, our ego is so big we could climb up on top of it and kill ourselves jumping off. But Elisha, he was content, whether he was speaking to kings, captives, or castaways. You know, there are some prophets Think of Jeremiah and those that were contemporaries with him. Some men got to prophesy to the kings. Some men prophesied to captives, preached to captives, and some, think of Jeremiah specifically, he was a prophet to the castaways, those that were the remnant that was left behind. But I don't think Elisha, though, yes, he got to speak truth to power. We'll talk about that more in just a moment. I don't believe he ever saw himself as anything more than a servant of God. Philippians 2:3 says, "Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind let each esteem other better than themselves." James 4:10, "Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he shall lift you up." Now, we're in 2 Kings chapter 2, but look at 2 Kings chapter 3. If you have a second, flip over there. Look at verse number 11. See, here's Elisha, and there's a kind of a quorum, a confederacy of kings, and they're talking. They want an answer from God. Look at verse number 11 of 2 Kings 3. "But Jehoshaphat said, Is there not here a prophet of the Lord, that we may inquire of the Lord by him?" And one of the kings of Israel's servants answered and said, "Here is Elisha, the son of Shaphat, which poured water on the hands of Elijah." Now, pause here for just a moment. This Elisha character, this man, it seems he was very comfortable in his own skin. He didn't say, "Oh, hold on a moment here. I am God's man now. I have the man of God's mantle. Forget about the old man Elijah. I want to be known for who I am. Watch what I'm about to do." No. He wasn't known as the prophet who replaced Elijah, but as the one who poured water on his hands, the one who was a servant of Elijah. Hey, is there a man of God here? Yeah, there's this upstart Elisha. He poured water on Elijah's hands. He basically helped bathe the old man. Let's ask him. Elisha didn't say, "Hold up a moment. Put some respect on my name," as they may say in today's vernacular. No, friend, I am, if I can say this in a holy way, I am proud to be known as a mentee, as a protege of some of the men that have invested in me. I've mentioned this before, I worked for Pastor Joe Grimaldi in Akron, Ohio for about 5 years before coming to Bible Tracts Incorporated. And if someone walked, "Oh, Micah, you were Joe Grimaldi's assistant, weren't you?" You know how much that would bother me? Not in the slightest. It doesn't bother me to be known by the great men I've had the opportunity and the privilege to serve in some small way alongside. I try to be careful of folks that have to be known for being their own man. Now, if you want to know if I have opinions, yeah, come ask me. I've got my own opinions. I'm not a yes man for every elderly senior saint or elder statesman. I don't just nod along and give them a yes, yeah, that sounds great. No. But I also don't think my opinions are so important everyone else has to share them either. Elisha, there's something to learn from this man. He was okay not showing up Elijah. I've said this before, but if we'd give half as much grace to the older men of God as we demand from them, we might work together a bit better. And if we gave half the grace to the older men as we expect to get when we are the older generation, I do feel like the Lord would repay us in kind. Elisha, no, he never departed from the side of Elijah. He never showed up, Elijah, but he never declined to stand just like Elijah. May I be blunt? Just because we know how the internet works and can build apps and websites and all that cool stuff, those are things we can do at Bible Tracts Incorporated. We have those abilities. Our team here is phenomenal. And yes, overall, we probably skew a little younger, but that doesn't mean we have to be soft soap pansies without a backbone. Honestly, truly, if I lean one way more than the other, I kind of lean more grace than truth. I really do. But I've learned, God has showed me over the past years that sometimes the most gracious thing you can do is tell the truth. I wonder what we're more afraid of. Are we more afraid of our brethren in arms than we are of the holiness of God? Are we more bothered by the fact that our Christian brethren may say, oh, that guy's, man, he's quite a Bible thumper? Are we afraid that the world might identify us in that way? Or are we concerned that we have a real fear of God, a respect of God? I think back, there's a very raw memoir I'm reading of a soldier that was in the Korean War and the Vietnam War. I try to read a good bit, and I was reading this, and he talks about the necessity to sometimes put the fear of God into soldiers. And realize this is a day, it's not the kindler, gentler U.S. military that maybe we have today. My dad was in the military for 20-something years, and so I know just a little bit about what I speak of. I've not experienced it for myself, but even during his 20-something years, he observed a slight toning down of some standards and things like that. But going back to the Korean War, according to the rule of the day, a century, a guardsman could be shot, could be court-martialed for falling asleep on guard duty. Well, this man was talking about what they'd call NCO justice. If an NCO, non-commissioned officer, came upon a foxhole during the Korean War, and a man who was supposed to be keeping watch for his foxhole, for his squad, for his platoon, fell asleep, he might take a trench knife, put it up against his throat, just enough to maybe draw a little bit of blood, and shout in his ear, "Do you want to die tonight?" Because that's what could have happened if the enemy had snuck through. Or maybe, just maybe, even worse, he'd take a .45, take his service pistol, put it up against the guy's head. Not the muzzle, but put the barrel up against his head, and shoot it into the side of their trench, into the side of the foxhole, ringing his ears and his head, and most certainly waking him up. And then regardless, whether it was a trench knife or the .45, they would, unfortunately, beat them senseless. As a reminder, don't fall asleep. Because if they shot every single man that fell asleep on guard duty, there'd be none left. You say that's a bit harsh. Oh, yes, it very much is. That's not what I'm calling for today among Christendom. I already told you that I'm not for blue on blue, for Christians killing Christians. Not a chance, whether in word or deed, all right? But I wonder, is there anyone that can shake you by your lapels and say, what are you doing? We've been given some truth to hold to. Are you going to stand and fight? That's what Elisha did. He was willing to stand and speak truth to power. We're going to continue this discussion tomorrow on the broadcast. I want to thank you for listening in. Greatly appreciate your investment of time. Have a great day for His glory. We'll talk to you soon. God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to Bible Tract Echoes, the radio ministry of Bible Tracts Incorporated. Want to see our gospel tracts and other resources? Visit us online at BibleTractsInc.org. That's BibleTractsInc.org. Or follow us on social media to learn how you can partner with this ministry. Thanks again for listening. May the Lord richly bless you as you live for Him.